Hello folks, welcome back. I'm Greg Leach. This is Art of Cycling. And for now at least, it's all cycling all the time. And we'll be back in the studio month's time, roughly. But, that's my July, folks. So we've got another sprint stage, or at least on paper, a sprint stage. We'll see what actually happens. So today I'm painting what I like to call as live. I've been having some back issues and got to the point where I needed to go to the ER this morning. Just couldn't take it anymore. So if things get a little wonky, it's because they gave me some pain meds. But, got to get this under control because it's been rough. So we've got, regardless of it being a stage for the sprinters, easy for me to say, we do have a group off the front, a foursome. This is Direct Energies, Matthias Lebert. The first time I've painted him in this tour. Feels like the first time I've ever painted him, but I won't know that until I do the blog post. Why, you ask? Because it tells me whether I've ever typed their name in before. And the blog is theartofcycling.blogspot.com. Shoot, I meant to look up the names of my new followers. I do appreciate it, so know that if you did start following, I wanted to thank you personally, but I forgot to check. Oops. I don't want to take the time to dig it out now, so just know that you're truly appreciated, and of course I would love it if more of you would. Obviously it costs nothing to subscribe, and it will make sure you know when I post the next videos, because I think at some point today, I forget exactly how far down the course, but we will hit the exact halfway point of the tour, both kilometers and halfway through today would be 10 and a half stages completed out of the 21. So I also talked about, like I've shown you some video that included the cameraman. So this shot is achieved by the guy on the back of the motorcycle, leaning down, holding the camera, down close to the ground and then shooting up. Makes for a great shot, but scary. What they do on the back of these motorcycles is stunning. Back in 2014, I think it was, I was working with somebody who was involved in the Giro d'Italia, and there was a chance I could go to the Giro, and I thought, wouldn't it be fabulous to paint from the back of the motorcycle? I never even got out to test out. Did find a friend who was willing to let me sit on the back of a motorcycle and just go try to paint a group ride, my local cycling club. I never even got to that point. Partially because this, it was asked if I could do that, and not to be, is racist the right word? Certainly not PC, but it being the Giro d'Italia, the race organizer came back and said, even if I were, and I'm not going to put your guy on the back of a motorcycle, there are photographers who've been waiting decades to get a mount on the back of the motorcycle. Because let's face it, that's the only place you're really going to get the great shots. And they said, with no particular malice intended, if I put your guy on the back of the motorcycle, somebody's going to take him out and kill him to get his seat on the bike. Not wanting to test that, and for various other reasons it never came about. But I was left not doubting it. All those big names in the break. At least one is Julian Alaphilippe. And who's the other? The UNO-X rider? That can't be right. 123. Anton Charmig. I don't know who he is. So maybe not such a big name. He might be another person I've never painted before. I don't recognize the name at all. Sorry for the raspy voice. I'm not actually sure where that came from. So just, again, working through cool, rather clearly not cool, I just painted yellow. You all know what I mean by cool colors and warm colors? The best way to think of it is warm colors. The colors one associates with fire. Although let's face it, there are blue flames. But and then cool colors being, you know, what we consider like water, the coolness of, so the blues and greens, purples, although there's probably not that much purple in water. But, and one of the things about, you know, I talked about perspective in the previous video. Of course, another way to achieve perspective, where color has perspective. So warm colors tend to advance at you, and cool colors tend to recede. So like in interior design, if you've got a small room, it's recommended to paint it a cool color because the walls literally recede. Larger rooms can be a warm color. There's all sorts of other tidbits of color theory. Particularly in design, interior design. So we're just now going to switch over to the cool colors, I believe. Yep. We'll start with the movie star jersey. I've always loved their big M on their jersey. It would be very depressing if they ever lose that. And they go through a lot of different colors over the years, but it's usually blue with these highlights of fluorescent green, which you'll see in a minute. Total Energy's kit has gotten a little less aggressive. Somebody did comment on my dog and about it being distracting when he barks. Well, he's distracting to me too. But, you know, it's his job to protect the house, so he feels it's necessary to give a yip or two. And if you've figured out how to make a dachshund not do it, let me know. Kind of nature of their breed. So movie star has, now they're, so here this color is too pale. And you achieve that by more or less water. So I might give that a minute and then come back. But I can always, because watercolors are translucent, you can lay another color over it and it will build up a deeper, richer color. So like if you were painting with an opaque paint, that technique wouldn't really work. It would just be literally overlaying. Now there is underglazes. Some oil painters will use that to enrich the color when it goes on top. Of course, underpainting doesn't work in watercolors. Okay, now I got a better dark blue. So you see how that's both the color I mixed is dark, and then putting it on top made it also dark. I think now we'll switch to this. The trees along the side of the road. I love the way this particular camera angle makes everything look monumental. I've used this angle before, one of the times called the painting the giants of the tour. Now I want to do the sky, and at long last, remember I talked about there being no clouds in the sky so far into this tour. And now one of the things about watercolor is your whites are your paper. So you kind of have to know what your white is going to be. One technique that can be used is to put down rubber cement wherever you want white to be, and then you can kind of just paint away and then not worry about it. I prefer just to be, there. So you can see the way I laid that in, and I left just the paper. Now these clouds are sort of the fleeting away of some rain. We had wet roads earlier, which can be very tricky. If it hasn't rained for a while, they can get very oily. We've seen some bikes kind of slip, but fortunately nobody's gone down yet. Yesterday, Tom Pitcock and another one of his teammates slid out on a crash coming down the Puy Marie. And the picture his teammate posted, what was his name? Chris Harper, was pretty gnarly. In fact, Phil Liggett, who's on NBC broadcasting, has been for 52 years, which is pretty stunning. Said if you're squeamish, you may want to look away, because he took off, broke his thumb pretty badly, and then took off chunks of skin, enough that he actually needed a skin graft. Where was I going with that? God knows. Do y'all remember? Oh, slippery roads. So of course, Chris Harper had to pull out of the race. Something nobody ever wants to do. But, he managed to finish the stage, which is like, oh my God. kudos to him. But I don't know how. But that's the thing. And every year, like particularly this year with the Gold Cup, World Cup going on as well, people will post pictures, you know, horribly bloodied cyclists continuing to ride, and a soccer player barely getting touched and falling down and rolling on the ground in agony. But in both cases, they're working for the team, because if you don't keep riding, you're out of the tour. So for your team's sake, you suck it up and keep going. And in soccer, of course, there's a bit of a timeout. It gives your teammates time to catch their breath. So it's a disingenuous comparison. And of course, I'd love to know what you think of this piece since it's almost done. And to remind you, of course, I would love it if you would subscribe. I, again, appreciate those of you who've done that. Love to know what you think of this piece, or if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. And I'll try to remember your names and your questions and address them in the next video tomorrow. So thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And again, all this work is available for sale on my website. You can see and read more about the paintings at theartofcycling.blogspot.com. And when you're there, you'll find a direct link to for each painting. So a direct link to my website for each painting where you can purchase them securely. Domestic shipping is included in the price. So again, thank you so much, and thank you to those who purchased a piece. See you tomorrow.